Welcome again to Joe Stunner Boxing. I hope you're doing well. There is a very good unification fight between two British fighters on this weekend. It's between the European super featherweight champ Ryan Garner, undefeated in 17 fights with 8 KOs, and he's taking on the Commonwealth and British champ, the reborn REECE Bellotti. Balotti is 34 years old, calls himself Bomber. 20 wins with 15 KOs, so he does have a bit of pop. 5 defeats, which he suffered in the space of, I think, 7 fights. And this was down at featherweight. But he's resurrected his career, and then some, to have a real great Indian summer of a career. He was stopped in 5 rounds by Ryan Doyle. He lost his Commonwealth featherweight title at that point. I was actually ringside for that one. That was in 2018, I think it was. And Ryan Walsh, he lost a split decision to Ryan Walsh. That was for the British featherweight title. He lost to what's his name, Grandelli, Francisco Grandelli. That was a close one. Jordan Gill outpointed him over 10, and then Ray Ford smashed him up in 3. And so all 5 of those defeats between, I think it was 2018 and 2021, maybe it's about a 3-year period. 5 defeats in 7 fights. It looked like his career was over, but no. If ever you want an example of how you can come back, look no further than REECE Bellotti, because his fight after the Ray Ford blowout was against Dean Dodge. He picked up the Southern Area belt with a 7th round KO, I think it was. Then he sprang an upset against Yousef Humani, who at the time was, I think he only lost once in 15 or 16 fights, and he might have had a draw as well, Humani, but he had a good record and he was expected to beat Balotti. Balotti was considered to be shot or past it or whatever. Then Balotti really raised a few eyebrows when he stopped the previously unbeaten Aqib Fiaz. It made him quit after 8, and that was a Commonwealth title fight. He then fought Liam Dillon. The British title was on the line, as was the Commonwealth. He moved up to super feather by this point, by the way, super featherweight, and he picked up the British. So he was a 2-weight Commonwealth champ, and now he's got the British. He won a decision over Levi Giles, 15-1 at the time. If I remember rightly, I think towards the end he was under the cosh a bit, Balotti. So he was showing a little bit of frailty. If you can catch up with him and tag him, he's still a little bit vulnerable. Then he had the fight with Michael Gomez Jr., which there was a lot of bad blood because he got cancelled at the 11th hour. But again, the British and Commonwealth titles on the line. And Gomez Jr. was forced to retire after 10 rounds. But again, he had a pretty good record, 21-1 when he came in. So domestically, Balotti is really cleaning up. And in fact, if he was to beat Garner, he'll have won a Lonsdale belt outright, which, considering, like I say, he lost those 5 fights out of 7. To resurrect your career like that is really fantastic. But he is going in with a man who is undefeated in 17. Like I say, 8 KOs. He's 7 years younger than Balotti. He's 27. And he's looking good. He won the European belt against Salvador Jimenez, who was undefeated, light punching guy. I think Jimenez had half a dozen stoppages in 12 wins or something like that. But he didn't do great against Garner. Garner just completely outboxed him. I think if it wasn't a whitewash, then it was damn close to it. But yeah, Jimenez just followed him around. Garner did whatever the hell he wanted. And in fact, Garner showed just how well schooled he is. He only has, less than 50% knockout record percentage-wise. But he doesn't try and knock you out. He's happy to box, use the moves. Just a very well-schooled, well-rounded fighter who, looks like a worthy European champion. Prior to the Jimenez fight, he beat Archie Sharp, who was undefeated in 25 fights, no draws. He he beat Archie. It was competitive, but I definitely thought that he won it. The phone is... Can you hear the phone? I'm not going to stop this video. Sorry, whoever you are, I'll call you back. Liam Dillon, he beat him. That was a unanimous decision, and he won, I think, most of the rounds against Liam Dillon. So he's beat again. We're talking a guy who has dominated, maybe not dominated, but he's beaten good domestic level fighters, who've got, maybe one or two defeats, or maybe in the case of Archie Sharp, he's undefeated. But this is a guy who's been brought along correctly. Ryan Garner has been brought along correctly. Okay, and I really think that he's shown a lot. He's only 27, so he's coming into his prime, his peak years, and I think he's been brought along really excellently. I really do. Now, I would say if you on paper, Garner has better overall skills than Belotti, which is not an insult to Belotti, because Belotti himself is a very well-rounded fighter who, to start with, was regarded as a bit of a banger, and then he had that awful 3-year period where he lost 5 fights, and he sort of reinvented himself as more of a boxer puncher. And I think that this is pretty much a level playing field. I do think Garner's probably a little bit better schooled than Belotti, but let's not forget that Belotti, he still stopped Aqib Fiaz. He stopped him. He stopped him after 8 rounds. Also, he made Michael Gomez Jr. quit. So he still uses that power. He still sort of lets his hands go and can grind you down. But at the same time, he's not reliant on the power anymore. I mean, when I saw him lose his title, lose his first defeat, the 5th round stoppage to Ryan Doyle, he did look very one-dimensional. I remember thinking that. And Doyle was, a decent enough fighter, but I think the REECE Bellotti of now would, without question, would completely dominate the REECE Bellotti of 2018. It is a case of learning from your mistakes, of really, becoming all you can be. And sometimes you got to learn those lessons the hard way, by being stopped, by losing a string of fights, and he could quite easily have said, "Oh, the hell with this, I'm going to quit," or he could have just gone down the journeyman route, Balotti, but he didn't. He kept on rebuilding, and now he looks better than he's ever done. Is it enough to beat Ryan Garner? I would say I lean towards Garner to win a close-ish, close 115-113 decision over Belotti. I think he's just a little bit, even though Belotti's very crafty, got a lot of nous, Garner is just a little bit too fresh, a little bit too well-schooled. And I definitely think Belotti will win rounds, but I think there'll be too many periods of the fight where Belotti will be looking to do his own work, and meanwhile Ryan Garner will be getting on with it, using the skills, the good jab, nice variety of punch, good punch picking, uses his feet well. I mean, he's a very well-rounded fighter. He's got quicker feet than Belotti, a bit more imaginative in his offense. And I do think there'll be periods of the fight where Belotti might be a little bit frustrated. So I'm going to pick Ryan Garner to win this contest. Like I say, 115-113. And to pick up REECE's Commonwealth and British titles. He's already got the EBU. And of course, the next stop will be, let's move on to, world level. And at 27, the timing might just be right for Ryan Garner to make that move. But have a look at it. It's on Saturday. It's going to take place in Bournemouth. There's a card on in Bournemouth. Yeah, I mean, take a look at it. Carl Fail is on the undercard against Amir Abu Bakr, is that his name? Maybe I'll pronounce that wrong, but that looks like a good fight too. And it's going to be shown on DAZN as part of your prescription, not pay-per-view. Amazing, isn't it? But anyway, let me know what you think. What do you think of these fighters, Garner and Balotti? I like both of them. And I'm kind of a bit sentimental. I'm hoping Belotti can do it, but I do think Garner will just edge it. But let me know what you think. Anyway, comments below. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit the like button, and yeah, I'll give your comments a read. Thank you very much for joining me, and bye for now.